What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Trinity Wolf, and welcome back to another amazing Yu-Gi-Oh video. Now, pretty much what I'm going to be talking about today is why I love playing our boy Destiny Hero Dominance, and hopefully trying to convince you why you need to play him in your deck too. So if you're new to the channel, please destroy that subscribe button. We are on the march for 1,000 subscribers before Christmas, which is only a few days away from now. So get to destroying that subscribe button and hit the like button. And well, let's just get on into this video. Alright guys, so let's get into this topic. So ever since Fusion Destiny came back to 3, which was really huge for us, I really love playing this card. Considering the fact that how this format is, for me, I really like to know what I'm up against, especially when it comes to you winning the dice roll and you get to go first and you open up a Fusion Destiny. Like, opening up a Fusion Destiny with a Hero Lives just does so much. So you can either go ahead and get the mass change first, with Hero Lives or Shadow Mist, just to make sure, what you're up against. Most likely you're going to need a Dark Law in this format. So you could always start off with Hero Lives, get your Dark Law out, use Fusion Destiny to look at their deck, see what they're playing. So don't even make the Dark Law yet. Just look at their deck. And then just okay, they're playing this. So yeah, let's go ahead and make this when their turn starts. Or even because I play Pot of Prosperity in my build, if you really needed to, you could honestly let's say you don't even use your Pot of Prosperity yet. You Dominance, you're going to shuffle your deck just because you fusion someone from the deck. You can use his effect, look at your own top 5, place whatever you, just see what's in there. Because, if there's one card you need, you can just use the Pot of Prosperity and banish 3 and excavate the top 3 and just pick the one card you need. So that way you're not banishing all 6 of your resources from your extra deck. Because that happens to me a few times where I'm just like, dang, I really could have, I wish I didn't banish all my stuff for that Pot of Prosperity. So with Dominance, you can literally just put the one card you need on your top 3 and then just only banish 3 cards. So that's another reason. Also due to his destruction effect, to where you can get 3 bodies basically back on board for an easy plasma. So he's just really great. And if you run something over, you get to draw a card. But most of the time you're going first with him, so that has came up a few times where I've drawn a card. So if you guys have seen it in my Yu-Gi-Oh! Day episodes, there's been a few times where I hit something, I drew a card. He had to run over it just to get his card off the board. But since it got destroyed, I drew a card. So he is absolutely phenomenal. And plus, you can bring him back with Phoenix if you need to. Of course, he won't get that effect where he, brings 3 back, but I mean, it's a 2900 beat stick that lets you draw cards and look at your opponent's or yourself's deck. So let's go into just how devastating Dominance can be. So first off, we're going to just show you how devastating Hero Lives and Fusion Destiny can be alone by themselves. But of course, we're going to have a full hand, but let's just draw these random 3 cards. Imperm, a mass change, and a miracle. Okay, so we already have a mass change in our hand, so we don't need to make the Dark Law with Hero Lives. So we'll go ahead and start off with our Hero Lives. Go ahead and getting a Stratos. And since we don't really have any other heroes in our hand, let's just go ahead and get a Ferris. Since we haven't done our normal summon, we will actually just tribute a card over for our Ferris. Then we will do our Fusion Destiny here. And basically, because I want to summon Dominance, I usually like to leave Plasma in the deck. So we will Denier, Malicious, and Dark Angel here. So after we send them, at least we already have a Fusion we already have a mass change to secure our Dark Law. And so now we will Dominance, look at their top 5, and oh, what do you know? It's Branded Bestial. Even though you most likely run into tier elements, but Branded Bestial is getting popular recently, so we could use the dominance effect after we've already looked at it and like, okay, well, Dark Angel and Dark Law, or Dark Law, Dark Angel, Plasma are like the best, but because we want to give him the Dark Angel, so Plasma will not be it. So, but what's the problem here? We have Dark Angel in our graveyard, so what are we going to be able to do to get him out? The answer is simple. We have to use our Denier. You don't always have to use Denier for Malicious, even though it seems like the most reasonable play to keep extending your combos, but you don't always have to do that. So instead of using our Malicious right away, let's actually go ahead and use our Denier. We special summon him. Using his effect, we will go ahead and put our Dark Angel on top of the deck. Now we will go ahead and link these two off for our Cross. Cross is going to trigger. I guess you could do it either way, summoning the Malicious to make Cross, but either way, it's fine. Get the Malicious back, using Malicious, tribute that to just grab our Dark Angel again. So now we have our Dark Angel, and we still have our Malicious engraved, and our hand is pretty much Imperm, Mass Change, Miracle Fusion, which we will not be able to use. Fair. So we will actually tribute our Cross Crusader for our normal summon of Fair, since we did not normal summon. Yada yada yada. Go ahead and do our Vision Hero plays here. Get our increased tribute Ferris. Get our Vion. Vinyl Send. Oh, Melissa's not. My hand is messed up a little bit here. Sorry. Final Send. Funny enough, I will actually send our Liquid Soldier because we already have a Miracle Fusion in our hand, so we can save that for next turn. Go ahead and use Vaughn's effect. We'll banish our Ferris for our Polymerization. And we got that Polymerization here. And now look at our hand. We got Dark Angel, Imperm, Mass Change, Miracle Fusion. So we do have a Dark Law coming. But DPE kind of needs to be here. So what can we do to do that? So we still have our Malicious engraved. We will go ahead and use that Malicious. Summon another copy of Malicious out of the deck. And unfortunately, since we didn't open up any other big heroes like Neos or Honest Neos or even Spirit Neos, I unfortunately would have to fuse away Dominance with the Malicious, sadly, to make our DPE, but this will definitely be a lot better than just sitting on a Dominance in attack position that they can just run over it with the Dark Angel to try to get rid of it, or just anything else. So now that we have our DPE, we have our Mass Change target right here for increase. So you can set our Imperm, set our Mass Change. Now we have 3 Destined Heroes engraved. We can activate Dark Angel, giving it to their side of the field. And there you have it. There is the lock. And then, you know, when they would go for their turn, or just try to search for something, go ahead and make that Dark Law. And now they can't run over anything with this Dark Angel. So either way, they would have to link it off, tribute it some way. But other than that, the Dark Law and the Dark Angel pretty much seals the deal. And then you have the Imperm for when they're trying to fuse with their boss monsters, or just stop at Albaz, or just anything that, you know, you might need to stop with Imperm. So that's pretty much what I like to do with that. That's how you can still get the Dark Angel in the grave, even though you sent it off the Dominance. So now let's go ahead and do a version of, well, we need to get Plasma on the field, not Dark Angel. Alright, so we have our Fusion Destiny. Stratos, Pot, Droplet, Ferris. Okay, that is actually very, very crack. You could always start off with Stratos for a hand trap bait. But But since I'm just trying to explain the power of this deck, let's just go ahead and start with our Fusion Destiny. Let's go ahead and send our 3, which will still be the Dark Angel, Malicious, and Denier. But funny enough, if you Fusion Destiny and you don't want to get all your Destiny heroes engraved that way, you could send Neos, Spirit Neos, or Honest Neos with a Denier or a Malicious, but most of the time you're going to need Malicious in the grave. But just in case, you can still fuse away those big Neos names to make DPE as well. So we have our Dominance yet again. But we have our Pot of Prosperity as well. So it's like, do we take a 50-50 chance of looking at their deck and rearranging it to what I need, or look at mine? So let's say this is game 2 when we somehow our opponent let us go first, even though they just got mollywopped game 1 from letting us go first. They're like, okay, well, Plasma would be very, very... Let me shuffle because I just went through the deck on Fusion Destiny. So they're like, alright, well, Plasma seems to be very effective against my opponent. But before I use Dominance, let's just try to thin out our deck a little more. So let's go ahead and use Stratos. Use Stratos, search for Mist. Go ahead and use our Ferris with Mist. Go ahead and do our search. With Shadow Mist, we will actually go ahead and just search for Plasma because we already know that's going to be the most effective thing against our opponent. So there is our Plasma. Increase will be put... I wish I just grabbed him when I saw him. Increase will get placed here. Tribute our Stratos for Increase because we want to have just dark targets because when we get our Dark Law, which hopefully we will see a mass change with our Pot of Prosperity as well. Now we can use Vion, send a hero, but we've already got like most of our D heroes engraved, so either you can thin out the deck still by like sending like an additional Ferris, since we only play 1 increase. Just try to thin out the deck as much as possible. Use Vion, banish the Ferris that we just sent for our Polymerization. I like to thin the deck out as much as possible. Like, it doesn't just have to be a good target to send, or just like, oh well, there's really nothing for me to send, so I'm not going to send anything. No, just get rid of as much stuff that you don't want to see as possible. So we've already used our increase, so there's Ferris. The rest of the Ferrises are dead. So now what we can do is link them off for Cross. I know I could probably use Denier. Like, I like to use Cross to summon Denier to get that effect off, but most of the time I end up wanting to make the Cross before I do that. So we'll go ahead and do the Malicious, tribute it for another search. And plus, you know, if this was game 2, you'd be able to obviously have Floodgates in your deck, or just stuff that you know you're going to need for your opponent. So that's also the other reason for wanting to use the Pot of Prosperity on the following turns after you've side decked to dig for those answers. So we'll go ahead and grab our Honest Neos with that Cross Crusader search. And now that our deck is pretty thinned out, let's go ahead and shuffle our deck. Declare Dominance's effect, and we will look at our top 5. And what makes this great is our opponent doesn't get to see it, but of course, so unfortunately we do not see a mass change here. But let's just say this Imperm was a really good Floodgate against our opponent. Let's say Rivalry of the Warlords or something. So we're like, okay, well, let's put Rivalry on top of the deck. Use Dominance effect. We will just banish 3 cards. Since most of these are not going to be summoned this turn, I would go ahead and just banish the wasted masked hero targets for this turn. Even the Trinity, because we will most likely be able to kill our opponent by just straight control. So we will get rid of those 3. Look at our top 3. Is that how... I'm sorry. Yeah. So, if, sorry, I forgot to activate the damn card first. So, like I was saying, I would banish the targets that are not going to be summoned this turn. So, Acid's not going to happen. Blast is not going to happen, and Trinity is not really going to happen this turn. So we would go ahead and get rid of them. Our top 3 was this, of course, so it's like this was supposed to be our Floodgate. So we would just go ahead and add that. Of course, now they know to be ready for it. But at least now it's like we know we got it. So, but now I still need plasma on the board, right? So now we can go ahead and finally use our malicious engrave. And we still haven't used denier yet either. So we got our malicious out. What's funny is I could fuse the Honest Neos in my hand with malicious to make DPE, but since we have our full Vision Hero package, our Destiny Hero package, let's go ahead and use our denier, use his effect, put malicious on top, fuse these two bad boys off. Of course, I could make plasma this way, but we also want DPE as well, so we go ahead and make them, have our DPE out on the field. Now that DPE is here, we will go ahead and declare his effect, popping both Dominance and Phoenix. We will chainlink one Dominance targeting the DPE, Denier, and Malicious, and then Phoenix will be chainlinked too. So Phoenix resolves, and now Dominance resolves, reviving. Well, this is already here, so reviving these three back. Right, revive those three. And now we contribute these three right here for our plasma. And now since we have that additional malicious to use, go ahead and do that. Link those bad boys off for Dread Decimator. And then we set our Floodgate, which is, it's an imperm, but let's, and then we have our Droplet as well. Too bad we don't have a mass change to really seal the deal. But normally you guys saw my channel before where I would use Phoenix to bring back Dreadmaster, so that way Plasma and Phoenix can't be destroyed this turn. But their turn's gonna start. DPE has to resolve. Let's just go ahead and revive our Dominance as well. And now they have to break this board that we already knew what they were. Because, like I was saying, it was like a later, this is what you would want to do, in later games. Since you already know what they're playing, use his effect for, the Pot of Prosperity if you have it. But if you don't have the Pot of Prosperity, just look at their deck to know what they're doing. But that's the other combo I like to show with using Dominance with the Pot of Prosperity. And plus, now we can flip a Floodgate on them if we have it. We have our Droplet if need be. Of course, the Honest Neos was in our hand, but yeah, hopefully you guys see this who have never really played or liked Dominance before and kind of get the concept of what I'm going for, of why I really like this card, because you're still able to make all the other Destiny heroes with Dominance on making him, even though it's like, oh, you got rid of all your resources. I'm like, well, not really, because they're going to come back from the grave and still make my stuff. So that's why I really love playing my boy Dominance. Pretty much always going to play him unless Fusion Destiny for some reason gets hit down again, because the less copies of this card, it's just not really that great. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please destroy that thumbs up button, subscribe today if you're new, and I will see you guys in the next one.